One of the biggest mistakes that guys make is they compliment too much and they compliment only about her looks and about things that are physically appealing to them. Because if you compliment a hot girl about her looks, she's heard it 100 times, it gets her irritated and it telegraphs tons of interest. So we don't compliment looks. In fact, we don't compliment at all in the first conversation until, again, she starts telegraphing compliments towards us. So, for example, with the ice skating chick, I complimented her the right amount because I didn't go over the 80-100 rule. I made her the barometer of my escalations, meaning only when she escalated, both with compliments as well as interest in me, did I compliment her back, and I didn't compliment her looks. And believe me, she was banging. Instead, I held myself back. I did not telegraph I wanted to have a festival in her vestibule. And instead, when the time was right, I complimented her on her energy. Dude, she was on cloud fucking 9.
The Unapologetic Man Podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about what to say to a girl to make her feel truly special. Now, obviously, a lot of my coaching runs around being unapologetic. That's why I named this podcast the Unapologetic Man Podcast. There's a lot of pushing her away. There's a lot of showing her you're not to be f***ed with. There's a lot of communicating that you have options and that you're the prize. She's the one submitting the application. You're the one being chased. You have to set that precedence for girls to get attracted to you. Now, this often leaves the question, well, how do I show her that I like her? Because isn't it true that if I don't show her that I like her, if I'm constantly pushing her away and telling her I don't need her with my actions, not my words, when I'm telling her that, isn't she going to lose interest and possibly leave me? The answer to that question is absolutely yes. If you don't show a woman that you're interested in her, she is eventually going to leave you. The problem, of course, is that most guys show too much interest too soon, which, as we all know, chases girls away. This is where I teach one of the most important things I teach of the many rules that I teach. There's one that I avidly share with you guys on the podcast is the 80-100 rule, which basically dictates you only give her 80% of what she wants from you. In addition to that rule, there's the barometer rule, which basically says she's the barometer for your escalations. You don't escalate in any way whatsoever until she's ready for you to do so. Which, if you think about it, is a little bit ironic because in a way, she's controlling the pace of the escalations. You don't kiss her until she's ready, so who's really controlling the pace of that? She is, but you lead her there. And this is the complexity of dealing with women where you have to know when they're ready for something, and then you take them there. You lead them to where they want to be led. So while you're the leader, you're constantly looking for signs from her to when she's ready to be led there. And this is one of the most important elements, which is she's the barometer. You don't escalate until she's ready, but you also only give her 80% of what she wants from you. She wants to hang out with you 5 times a week. You hang out 4. She gives you 5 compliments, for example, which is what we're going to talk about today. You only give her 4. It's 80%. And it doesn't even need to be hanging out or compliments. It can be things like, how much is she touching you? How much is she leaning into you? How much is she laughing at your jokes? You want to give her 80% of that. Now, going back to the compliment thing, one of the biggest mistakes that guys make is they compliment too much and they compliment only about her looks and about things that are physically appealing to them. Because if you compliment a hot girl about her looks, she's heard it 100 times, it gets her irritated and it telegraphs tons of interest. So we don't compliment looks. In fact, we don't compliment at all in the first conversation until, again, she starts telegraphing compliments towards us. She starts showing massive interest in us. Then we can throw out a couple of compliments. So compliments are like landmines with women when they're miscalibrated and, of course, when they focus on her looks. So oftentimes when you are with girls, they're going to compliment you. The question is, do you throw compliments immediately back at her, or do you just accept the compliment and move on? What I always do is the latter. I always accept the compliment by saying, thanks, I appreciate that. Or thanks, I appreciate you recognizing that. Basically taking it on with the confidence of knowing that what she said is true. And then what I do is I log it in my head, right? Like she gives me a couple compliments. She really wants to hang out with me. She likes me. I'm like, okay, cool. I got 2 compliments for her. But if you do it immediately after she says it to you, it's kind of a cop-out and it looks more like the norm of reciprocity, which dictates you do something nice for me, I do something nice for you. I scratch your back, you scratch my balls. And this isn't the connotation that we want to have if we're trying to have a festival in her vestibule. What we do instead is log it inside your head, recognize that she said it, say thank you, I appreciate that, never deny a compliment, always say thanks, I appreciate that. Or at the very most, thanks, you're not so bad yourself. But what I do is I log it, and then I'll have a couple in the bucket that I'm going to throw out when she's already at an emotional peak. So, for example, with the ice skating chick, she's talking about ice skating. I can tell her experience is up, which, by the way, I created that in her because I asked, what would you do with your life if you had no chance of failure? She's like, I'd probably be a professional ice skater. I've been ice skating since I was 5 years old. I love it. I'm in competitions. She starts lighting up. And then I said that thing, your energy really changes when you talk about ice skating. I can feel you have that charisma. I feel like people are left better from having met you when you're in that state. So I think it's important for you to pursue something where you can be in that state full time. Dude, she was on cloud fucking 9. I complimented her the right amount because I didn't go over the 80-100 rule, which once again dictates you only give her 80% of what she's given you or 80% of what she wants from you. I made her the barometer of my escalations, meaning only when she escalated, both with compliments as well as interest in me, did I compliment her back, and I didn't compliment her looks. And believe me, she was banging. Instead, I held myself back. I did not telegraph I wanted to have a festival in her vestibule. And instead, when the time was right, I complimented her on her energy. And that's the skill, boys. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. To watch the full podcast episode, click here. And before you go, if you're feeling extra generous, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. I'd sincerely appreciate it. Unapologetic Army.